talk to us about how blockchain principal strategies is going to be different from the rest of the competition.
So I think today the institutional market is really immature. There's not a lot of really mature platforms out there that are staffed by the kind of people that institutions are used to dealing with. And so really institutions are looking to get exposure in a safe way, and increasingly they're motivated about getting best execution. But today the institutional market in crypto is very immature and fairly nascent.
So talk to us, therefore, about when you're looking at Circle Trade, when I'm looking at the likes of Coinbase. They are already offering to institutional clients. I want to know how you're going to be different. I want to understand how the liquidity you're going to provide is measured, for example.
Sure. So Circle Trade is an OTC desk. Similar story with Coinbase. So they're offering a trading facility. We're really focused on offering an end-to-end service, more in the model of a prime brokerage.
So research,
that's research, deep liquidity, the ability to hold and custody assets directly for the institution. So it's a much more comprehensive offering across
so a custody bank like Coinbase.
Correct.
Okay, and what about, therefore, when you're looking at the demand that you're seeing flowing through at the moment from institutional clients? Has it waned at all with the sudden dive off that we've seen in crypto prices? Well, when I talk of that, I mean Bitcoin, when I talk about Ether prices. Yeah,
sure. So I think there's two separate things. One is institutions wanting to set up so that they can trade, and then there's institutions wanting to trade.
Okay.
Right now you're seeing a lot more of the former than the latter. I think you'll have to see the market reverse before you see more of the latter.
And where, therefore, do you think that will pick up most? We've got so much activity going on in China. We're just talking about Line opening an exchange in Japan. Where do you see some of the demand, the inbound coming? Because you're in more than 140 countries.
Yeah, we see most of the inbound coming from London and New York.
Okay.
Which partly is probably because we're in London and New York, and partly that's where the big financial markets are. And most of the inbound you're seeing right now are either from really large family offices or hedge funds, mostly macro hedge funds. And so that's really limited in New York, London. You're not seeing a lot of institutional demand out of Asia. Most of Asia is very retail driven, which indeed a lot of the market today is very retail driven. And
when you are based in New York and indeed in London, how do you see the regulatory environment? Because you're not going to be, you're offering end-to-end, as you say. You're not going to just be offering access to certain cryptocurrencies that we know well, like Bitcoin and Ether, but you're saying you're going to perhaps give access to ICOs, so initial coin offerings. You might get access to the equity of certain companies. But when I talk of ICOs, I think immediately of regulation. And what does it look like? Are you going to go for those that are already ready to be deemed a so-called security?
Generally speaking, the regulatory environment is easier for institutional clients. Consumers are under a different regulatory environment, which is based a lot around consumer protection. So it is a little easier on institutions. At the same time, it is really difficult to figure out where some of this is going. You saw the SEC about a week ago release a lot of very helpful guidance, which I think will make it a lot easier for institutions to get exposure. At the end of the day, though, a lot of it comes down to reputation management. And as a firm, we lean heavily on our board and on our legal staff to figure out which assets we want to be committed to in the long term.
So more than the 3 that you have currently in terms of crypto?
So we offer 3 assets on the consumer side, and we offer a very wide array of assets on the institutional